Hey, good morning everybody. Welcome back to the Blu-Roy movie channel. I hope you've got your tickets ready for the Blu-Roy movie bus and ready for the weekly watches. We've got 7 watches this week, one more than I think last week, averaging a movie a day, which isn't bad, isn't too excessive, just about the right amount I think. So without further ado, let's crack on and see what I've been watching over the last week. First up, last Sunday, as a family, myself, my wife Carol, my son Nathan and his girlfriend Katie, we sat down for a watch of Parasite. A rewatch for me, a first time watch for everybody else. And I'm not going to say a lot about the plot of this. I always say with this, go in blind, let it unfold, because you'll be surprised in which directions it takes. I think this film is magnificent. Won the Best Picture Oscar. Fully deserving of that in my opinion, because I think it's probably the best film of that year. It's a really twisted tale that goes places where you don't think it's going to go. And the family, they really enjoyed this, especially my son. I think he was really impressed. He was talking about it for the next couple of days afterwards. Looked really good in 4K. Beautiful cinematography. Looks absolutely fantastic. A lot of people won't watch this because it's a foreign film, and you're missing out if you don't watch films because you've got to read. There's a whole wealth of entertainment you're missing out on. If you just watch English speaking movies, in my opinion, you're only scratching the surface. That's absolutely incredible. Parasite, film of the year for me. Incredible. Next up was a DVD, and a DVD that Larry sent me over to watch. Lonely Are the Brave, with Kurt Russell and Walter Matthau. Now, this really surprised me. I thought it was going to be traditional old west western, and when the opening scene is Kurt Russell is lying on his back and he's looking up in the sky, you see 3 jet airplanes going over, and you realise it's something different. Really enjoyable film. It's all about Kurt Russell's character. He gets himself arrested and thrown in jail because his friend's in jail, in the plan that is going to break him out. But when his friend doesn't want to be broken out of prison because he doesn't want to risk the extra time, Kurt Russell breaks out by himself and goes on the run. And which is on the run from Walter Matthau's character, who's like one of the police sergeants or something like that. And yeah, really enjoyed this one. It had shades of Rambo First Blood for me, with him on the run in the hills, with everybody trying to track him down. I think it's like 1960s film, and it's contemporary, set in the 60s. So yeah, it's really good. You see him, Kirk Douglas on his horse, and he comes to the freeway, and there's cars and lorries everywhere. His horse in this, I can't remember what his horse was called. Was it called Whiskey? If I'm wrong in that, correct me down below. His horse was almost a character in itself. What a personality the horse had. And something happens to it, and I was quite sad about it. Yeah, really recommend that one. Thanks for sending that over to me, Larry. Really enjoyed that. Great Western. One of these films, I wish it hadn't taken me so many years to watch, but it'll be one I'll be rewatching in the future. Let's have a swig of my coffee. Yeah, I'm on coffee today, unusually for me. Well, I picked up this new coffee called Nescafe Perky Blenders. You see what they've done there? It's not bad. And it certainly is a perky blend. Next up on Tuesdays. Now, Tuesdays is always a busy day for me, and last Tuesday was more so in particular. I was busy during the day. Then in the evening, well, I say evening, every Tuesday late afternoon, I'll go to the hospital and have a cardiac rehabilitation centre in the gym in the hospital. Who knew hospitals had gyms in? I didn't until last year, but I'll go every week. And at the end of the day, on Tuesdays, I'm knackered. It really takes it out of me. I'm not fit for much, so I usually need a comfort film. And last Tuesday's, my visual comfort blanket was Bridget Jones' Diary. Now, some people might say this is a guilty pleasure. I don't agree. Never feel guilty about what you like. if you like something, more power to you. Enjoy it. But I love these sort of British comedies. I always thought this was a Richard Curtis film because it's very much like Four Weddings and Notting Hill, but he doesn't direct it apparently. It's a lady director whose name's gone off the top of my head now. No, it's gone. But Richard Curtis had a hand in the writing, so you can see it's got his feel about it. But yeah, as I say, I really enjoyed this. Uh, Renée Zellweger, you'd think she was English. Her accent's flawless in it, absolutely incredible. Hugh Grant, Colin Firth. Uh, the scene where Hugh Grant and Colin Firth are having a fight in the restaurant, absolutely brilliant. It's the most English fight you'll ever see. They're landed on tables, then apologising to the diners, and they're going out and having the most terrible scrap you've ever seen in your life out in the street. And it was all improvised, apparently. They just told them to get on with it. And I think it might be my favourite fight scene in films. But yeah, I really like these films. I might get on and watch the rest of the trilogy now. Really good stuff. Next up, and another film that Larry has sent over to me on Blu-ray this time, Cottage to Let. This is set 1940s. It's filmed 1940s, so it's filmed during the World War II. So as you can expect from films that are filmed in the war, it's a little bit propaganda-ish, but it's a good tale. It's got Leslie Banks, Alistair Sim, John Mills. I was wondering what all the banging about was. It's before 10 and my son's up. Can't work that one out. But yes, sorry for the distraction. Leslie Banks, Alistair Sims, John Mills. My favourite, George Cole, in a young role for him. He's only about 16, but he's absolutely brilliant. For me, he steals the show in this. He showed the talent going forward that was going to make him sort of the cheeky, chappy type role, which he pulls off in every single thing he's in. But this is all about Leslie Banks' character. He's developing a new sort of bombing site for the bombing raids in World War II that's going to make the bombing more accurate. And there's spies about trying to get the plans, and you're never quite sure who is the spy, who is on the British side. And I got it wrong a couple of times, which is testament to what a good film it is. It pulled the rug from under my feet, which made it even more enjoyable. I think Neil from Neil's channel, Neil's Film Collection, I think his channel's called, he was talking about John Mills, and he'd watched a film where John Mills didn't play his usual type of role that he normally does. And this is pretty much the same. It's not the all-hero role that John Mills normally does, which makes it even more interesting. Yeah, really good watch. I think it's probably out of print now because it's a network title, but if you can see that one cheap, pick it up. Good hour and a half. Good hour and a half entertainment. Perky Blenders, pretty good stuff. Recommend that one to you coffee aficionados. Kermit, give it a go. Next up, I watched Avengers Age of Ultron. I'd been on a rewatch of the MCU and got stalled when I got to Age of Ultron. It's been a few weeks since I've done my last one, and I think it's pretty much because I had this one next. It's one of my least favourites in the series. I find it bland. I find the plot a little bit convoluted. Pretty much rehashed what's gone on before in the series. Ultron as a villain, I find him a bland villain. Not much going on there, and it was a bit of a chore to get through. I think this and maybe the third Thor film, probably the weakest for me so far. I know some of you might like it and shouting at your screens, but we're all different, aren't we? So yeah, I've got over that hurdle now, and maybe I'll get on with it a bit more quicker, but maybe I won't. We'll see how the mood takes me. Next up, from the Indicator sale recently, I picked up 10 Relton Place, starring Richard Attenborough, Judy Geeson. I've said before, she's seems to be in everything I'm watching at the moment, which isn't a good thing because she's a great actress. Anybody got any recommendations? What else I could be watching of hers? Please let me know down below and I'll appreciate it. And John Hurt, who's just always fantastic in everything he does. This is a true story set in 40s and 50s London about John Hurt's character, who I can't remember his name off the top of my head, directed by Richard Fleischer. John Christie, the character name, a serial killer of that era. He was killing people, buried them in his garden. And this is set around when Judy Geeson and John Hurt, they're a young married couple. They come to rent a room in the same apartment block that he's living in. Well, an apartment block is a terraced house, really. And it's all about Attenborough killing the wife, and the husband takes the fall for it. He gets wrongly hung. I'm spoiling most of this, I do apologise, but it's an old film. And Attenborough is so creepy in this. I like Attenborough when he's playing not the good guy, the bad guy, the antagonist. The antagonist, that's a good word to pull out on my bum at this time on a Sunday morning. He's playing the antagonist, which is my favourite Attenborough roles. Yeah, really creepy. Recommend this. Pick it up when the indicator have a sale. £5 well spent. And lastly for the week, I watched this John Ford Weston. Jimmy Stewart, Richard Widmark, getting the two of them mixed up. John Ford. People, cowboys having to go off to rescue whites that the American Indians have kidnapped, which is what we've seen before from Ford in The Searchers, which is a better film than this, but this was still a great film. Jimmy Stewart, he's a marshal. He'll sell his granny for £1. So he takes up the offer of going to rescue these people for the American Indians for a load of money. Yeah, really good Western. Really enjoyed it. Recommend that. Worthy addition to the Masters of Cinema universe. So that's everything I've watched this week. Excuse me, getting a croaky throat. That's everything I've watched this week. Have you seen any of them? Do you like them as much as me, or dislike Age of Ultron as much as me? Let me know down below. If you've liked what I've done today, please give me a like. Please think about subscribing. Numbers have been going up nicely recently, which is good. That a lot of you like to listen to my rambling. You're all gluttons for punishment, in my opinion, but there you go. You all have a good week. Take care, and I'll see you again soon. Goodbye.